Bigger plate back again, Jack. Where you at? It's time to talk to the $300 billion man. Let's get it.
Today, I'm interviewing one of the richest men on the planet, and we just arrived at his $100 million mansion here in Palm Beach, so he can tell me exactly how he got here. Thank you so much for having us at your house today. This is, without a doubt, the most beautiful house I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Yes.
Thank you.
As of today, how much in assets is your company, Interactive Brokers, have under management?
Roughly $350 billion.
Wow. You've come a long way, though. Let's take it back to the beginning.
I sure have.
Yeah, let's go back to 1944, the year you were born.
1944, I was born in Budapest during the time when the city was under siege and it was being bombed. And I was born in the basement of the hospital because there was a bombing raid.
There was a bombing happening while you were being born.
Right.
And growing up under those conditions, what was that like? You grew up with your mother and your father?
I just grew up with my mother.
And you guys didn't have much money back then?
We had no money back then. Barely had any food.
Is it true that you made your first money in high school from selling juicy fruit gum to classmates?
You're amazing. Yes, that is true. Yes. I was 12 years old at the time. It was at the time of the Hungarian Revolution. The Hungarian people were basically fenced in so that they couldn't go out. And I had an older friend who was about 18 years old in the building who went out to Vienna with a Red Cross truck and came back with juicy fruit grams. And he sold them to me for $2 a stick, and I cut them into 5 pieces and sold them for $1 a stick.
That's amazing. How much money do you remember making from that?
A couple of hundred.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I brought you a gift.
Looking for an easy way to get that LLC next to your business name? Say hello to Taylor Brand. You just go to their site, enter your LLC state.
They always drop the ads on the good part. I guarantee you, what y'all think he finna pull out his
searched
pocket?
Juicy fruit gum.
I know what he finna pull. He knew too.
Searched for a few days, and I found the original packaging from 1970.
Fantastic.
Juicy fruit gum.
This is actually the thing. Yeah, it's amazing.
Maybe we should open it up and share a piece together.
Yeah, right.
No, it's too old. It's too
Too
old.
old? You think it wouldn't be good anymore?
I think it might be the last piece of juicy fruit you ever have in your life.
That's amazing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I will keep it as a souvenir. That's amazing that you found that.
Those must be your neighbors flying in the helicopter.
Yeah, well, Trump doesn't like it when it flies over here.
Yeah.
You know, he just lives down there. 3 houses down that way.
Yeah, just around the corner from Trump.
Right.
Not bad, yeah.
Yep.
Wow, look how they threw that in there. Real rich.
So after high school, you moved to the United States.
I was 21 when I came to the United States.
What type of challenges did you face when you moved to America? Did you speak English? Did you have money saved up?
I did not speak English and I did not have money, so that was a challenge. Both of them were a challenge.
So how did you get by? How did you make your money when you came to America?
I got a job as a draftsman. So I was studying surveying back in Hungary. I understood maps, and I was hired by a highway designing firm to draw maps, basically highways.
So how did you turn that into learning computer programming? How did you learn about programming in New York? They didn't teach that in Hungary.
They didn't teach it anywhere at that time yet. The company where I just got this job bought a little computer.
It's fascinating to watch this. So, I mean, it got to be fascinating to be able to sit down with somebody that's been through some things and to amass that type of wealth. It's got to be fascinating. Got to be. So salute the interviewer and the interviewee.
In those days, there were no commercially available computers in the United States. So they bought this computer and they realized that nobody knew how to program it, and I volunteered to learn how to do it, and I did.
How did you learn?
Manuals. I just took the manual and started writing the program.
And that skill ended up being the one that changed your life forever and got you to this point today. But first, I want to know about how you went from working that job to getting a seat on the American Stock Exchange.
So before I did that, I went to work as a computer programmer on Wall Street, where I heard about options, puts and calls. I was intrigued by the question of how to calculate the correct price for an option. I figured that out and wanted to go to trade for myself. And so I've been saving money, and over the 10 years of working, I saved up $200,000, which in those days was more like $200,000
Yeah.
today. So I bought a seat on the stock exchange and went down to the floor as a trader. That was very different in those days because there were no computers. There was, just people yelling and shouting.
And you at the time felt like that was not the best way to do this.
It certainly was not the best way to do this, because by that time, computer technology was at the time just at the point where you could have computerized the exchanges. This was in 1977. But of course, they didn't want to do this because the big traders made their money out of the chaos.
You didn't want to break the system that was already there.
Right.
But in 1984, you launched Timber Hill, which has now become Interactive Brokers,
Right.
the largest brokerage in the United States. Can you tell me the story of how it started as this small company, TP & Co., Timber Hill, to now becoming to this level?
You're amazing. You really did your homework.
Yes, of course, I had to.
So I spent 5 years on the floor trying to understand how things work, kept asking them to convert to computerized systems, and they kept saying, no, go away, go away. The specialists didn't want to trade with me because they knew that I knew the numbers better than they did. So I hired very attractive young women to trade for me. We told them what to trade. They went back to the specialist and they said, I'd like to buy such and such. After a while, the specialist wised up and they said, well, that's not going to work. By the rules, they were right, so I didn't know what to do. So then in '82, and decided that I would have a computer that would get all the prices. So my computer took in those bids and offers.
All I can say is, wow.
And analyzed them and printed out the best trades to do.
You wrote this program all yourself.
I did the program, yeah. Which, by the way, I have in my office here.
You have it?
Yeah, I can show it to you.
So you build the hardware too.
We did in the office, right.
It's a lot different than the MacBook.
But it was a decade and a half earlier, right? So it was touch sensitive, and you could communicate with the computer by where you touched it.
So how do you go from creating something like this, getting your company off the ground, to taking it to now billions of dollars?
Well, this was 40 years ago when we went down with that. So 40 years is a long time, It didn't come very fast, It's just you have to do it day after day after day, week after week, year after year. It takes a long time.
Was there ever a moment that you wanted to give up or it got really difficult?
Well, several times I almost went bankrupt, yes. Yeah, several times, so.
Do you remember what that felt like?
Sure.
See the sacrifices you have to make? He said several times he almost went bankrupt. Right on his heels, give up, go bankrupt? No. Let me fight through it. Consistency, hard work, preparation, dedication.
It's horrible.
On the flip side, do you remember the day that you became a billionaire?
No, I don't. But I remember the times when I almost went bust, yeah.
So that's just something that happens and the day goes on as normal.
No, billionaire is not. It is the first million and the first 10 million that are difficult. Once you got there, it goes faster and faster.
Your story is incredible. I think it's the most incredible of any business person I've ever met in my life. I want to switch it around and I want to ask for some advice because all my viewers are young entrepreneurs or aspiring investors. The first thing I want to talk about is that you've seen many ups and downs in the market. You've seen some of the worst crashes in history. Do you think we're headed for another market crash?
Well, I mean, there'll be crashes, and there'll be a final crash from which there is no return.
Active brokers have under management.
The way I have in my office, but it will.
Company off the ground to taking it to now billions of dollars.
Well, you know, this the day week after we bankrupt, yes, yeah, several times. So.
Do you remember what that felt like?
Sure, I remember. I remember.
Normal.
No, Billionaire is not. It is the first million and the first 10 million that are difficult. Mm-hmm. Once you got there, it goes faster and faster.
Your story is incredible. I think it's the most incredible of any business person I've ever met in my life. I want to switch it around and I want to ask for some advice because all my viewers are young entrepreneurs or aspiring investors. The first thing I want to talk about is that you've seen many ups and downs in the market. You've seen some of the worst crashes in history. Do you think we're headed for another market crash?
Well, I mean, there'll be crashes, and there'll be a final crash from which there is no return. I believe that because there is social dissonance and there is, we don't have a solid financial basis anymore, given all the debt, and we can just keep adding to the debt. So I think eventually it will collapse. And when it comes back, it will take some years to come back. The companies and the stocks will not exist when the system comes back again. So so the stocks that you end up with will be worthless.
It's almost like a reset.
Yeah, it will be a reset.
So how can we prepare for that? How can somebody like me prepare for that?
But my mother told me always, the only thing they can never take away from you is what you have learned.
What do you think is the most important lesson you've learned? If you were sitting with Thomas at 18 years old and he was looking you in the face, what is one word of advice you would preach to him?
Be ambitious. Try to succeed at all cost.
Mm-hmm. The last question I want to ask you is that you've achieved what most people would consider the dream life. You have everything. You've made billions of dollars. You have houses around the world. You have a family. What's left? Is there anything that you feel like is missing in your life?
No, sure. I still want to succeed better than I am so far. I'd like Interactive Brokers to become bigger and more successful. Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why you're here today is because you care about building the best product, the best team, and helping your investors. So.
That's correct.
I really appreciate this interview. It means a lot to me.
Please subscribe to Jordan's channel. It's terrific. I have seen some of the videos he has made. I think you will learn a lot if you subscribe and watch it.
See you guys in the next one. If y'all ain't subscribed yet, I don't know what you're doing.
Subscribe to me too. It's the bigger play. And what you miss over there, you're going to get right here. I'll holla.